This is the HaltingWinter Podcast, and this is the Spartan Body and Mind Podcast. My name is Seth Winterhalter. I'm the host of both of those podcasts, and this week is Collaboration Week. I'm actually going to be dealing with two topics that I think speak to both of the audiences that I work with. The leadership, executive, business side of things, which HaltingWinter is that's what we do. We work with leaders and organizations to help both operate at peak performance. But also, the Spartan Body and Mind Podcast is a podcast for everyone, anyone and everyone who wants to become Spartan fit, who wants to be fit both mentally and physically, who care about these bodies, these vehicles that get us from point A to Z in our life, as well as our minds. Because again, maybe predominantly the reason you get unfit physically is because of something going on mentally. Beliefs, distorted beliefs, false beliefs. What we're going to be talking about today, false comforts. So the two topics this week I thought were very purposeful, intentional towards both audiences. So I'm going to put these out on both channels so you can listen on whichever one applies to you. So the topics are comforts and comparisons. Comforts and comparisons. If we don't work through comforts and comparisons, we're going to face some real heartache in our life. And so today's topic, the crisis of comfort. The crisis of comfort. Tune in a few days. I'll put out the second one, which will be the chaos of comparison. But today, the crisis of comfort. So let's dig in. Who here wants to feel good? Is anyone here not want to feel good? Anyone really trying in their life to feel bad, to seek, right? Any Eeyores in the room who just long to feel worse about life? No? We all want to feel good, don't we? We all long to find comfort, to be comfortable. I mean, you just think about that word, comfortable. Doesn't it sound good? It sounds like a warm, cozy blanket, a big cup of hot coffee or apple cider or whatever it is that makes you feel right. We're in fall, so you think about all the pumpkin spice things or the cider things or whatever makes you feel comfy and cozy. We all long for true comfort, but we long for comfort not just physically, we long for it mentally and emotionally. We all long to look in the mirror and smile at our physical appearance. We all long to feel strength in our hands, in our legs, and our limbs. We all desire to have clarity of mind, to have focus, and have drive and motivations. We all long to have passion, zeal, fervor, joy, happiness in our soul, in the deepest place of our emotions. We all long to feel good. We all long to feel comfortable. But we have a problem. And that problem is the crisis of comfort. And it's a specific comfort. It's the comfort we feel when we settle for temporary ease and temporary pleasures. It's a comfortability that feels good in the moment, but we know it's not leading towards true comfort. It's not leading towards true joy, true rest, true confidence. It's false. It's temporary. It's fleeting. Externally, this means that we would often, right? How do we choose physical comforts? We will choose physical comfort, the physical comfort of our couch and Netflix, right? We will choose the physical comfort of our couch and Netflix over the sweat and the torture of deadlifts. But which one is leading towards true comfort, right? The couch and Netflix might give you an immediate comfort, but is it giving you the comfort in your skin? The comfort of looking good, of feeling good, of being strong, of having physical confidence? No, because sweat and deadlifts doesn't sound comfortable. In fact, it's anything but comfortable in the moment, but it's leading towards comfort. Netflix and the couch is a false comfort. It's a comfort of the moment, but no one's watching Netflix and going, now I have the energy and the mental clarity to conquer the day. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking some rest. There's nothing wrong with, right? Nothing wrong with enjoying an hour of TV a night and just kind of vegging out. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you had to sacrifice the couch and Netflix over the gym and deadlifts, you know that the gym and deadlifts is going to give you more in life than the couch and Netflix. It's a physical comfort, a false comfort. We settle for the false comfort instead of chasing that which is uncomfortable that would lead us to a real comfort. Let's look at it emotionally. Emotionally, comfort, that false comfort, means we'll put up with a really bad relationship. We'll put up with things in our relationships instead of facing the hard work, right? Not a deadlift, right? But what is it emotionally? It's facing confrontation, having hard conversations, really working things out. Instead, we put up with our own distortions, we put up with others' distortions, and then what happens? We have a really toxic relationship. So it's comfortable in the moment because we're not having to have hard conversations, but we're just delaying the inevitable. We are delaying the crisis. That's why it's the crisis of comfort. It's comfortable not to deal with confrontation until it explodes. Have you ever had that? Maybe a spouse, maybe a friend, something bothers you, you don't bring it up, you don't bring it up, you don't bring it up, and then when you do bring it up, you're Mount Vesuvius, you're a volcano, you're an explosion, and they're like, whoa, what's going on? You've never said anything before. And they're like, no, that's not true, I've said it 1,000 times. And it's like, no, you said it 1,000 times in your head. You've said it for the first time right now out loud. And now we have the crisis of comfort. See, we chase what's comfortable instead of chasing the hard work that will actually bring about the hopes and dreams. And the hopes and dreams, that's a real picture of comfort. That's the win. That's when you've put in the hard work of the gym and now you have a body of strength and fitness. It's the hard work of having a real relationship with real conversations and real honesty and real transparency, but you have the benefit, the comfort then of just knowing each other, of trusting each other, of loving each other. Instead of this eggshell, this false love, this surface, everything appears good love, but it has no depth to it. See, I get it. I've been there myself, right? If you know my story, I was 100 pounds overweight. Sure, I was successful. I've led, I've built a handful of nonprofits. I've built a couple of businesses, and all of them are successful because I work really hard. But I was not prioritizing my health. I used all the excuses in the world. I didn't want to prioritize my health because I thought it would look selfish. I thought it'd look like I was putting myself above others. It was comfortable to not deal with what was going on in my mind. And you know what? Those expectations, those obligations, most of that was on me. It wasn't even projected from others. It was just in my head. And so I was living to a false narrative, but I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to work it out. I just wanted to continue to put my head down and go. I didn't want to do the hard work. I didn't want to do the hard work of my mind. I didn't want to do the hard work of making choices with nutrition and activity because I was already doing so much work. I was already so tired. I didn't want to do more. I chose poor comforts instead of the hard work that would lead me to what now I would never go back. Now losing 100 pounds, being the best shape ever at age 44, I would never go back to that because now I see the benefit, that hard work and that consistency and that continued dedication towards new habits, healthy habits. I have comforts in my life now. I'm not worried about my health. I'm not worried about sleep because of, right, being so overweight was difficult to sleep. I have more energy. I have more focus. I have more clarity. So I'd never go back, but at the moment, it felt comfortable. It felt convenient. And it wasn't just my physical. I had issues mentally, emotionally. And so I didn't voice concerns. I didn't voice problems in relationships that I had because I just didn't want the confrontation. I just didn't want the problems. I didn't want the headaches. I had enough headaches to deal with. So I just made it harder on me and easier on them. Or what I thought. That's what I thought. It was easy to choose what was comfortable, to choose the lesser discomforts. And see, that's really what it is. It's not that you're chasing a comfort. It's you're chasing that which is less uncomfortable. But the problem was I faced a crisis. And if you know my story, I went to Honduras, came back, became incredibly sick. And it wasn't until I faced a crisis that it made me get my act together. But what happens if the crisis for you isn't getting sick after a trip to Honduras? What if your crisis is a heart attack? What if your crisis is a health report that says diabetes? Something worse. What if your health crisis becomes then an addiction? That you're not taking care of yourself in healthy ways. Instead, you're finding other outlets of unhealth to mask and to take away the pain of the current reality. What if what if the comforts, those false comforts that you're leaning into, what if that leads to a relationship crisis? All of a sudden, people start ghosting you. Friends falling away. Relationships start to blow up. All of a sudden, you're facing divorce. What about the comforts that are leading to a work crisis? You hear all about this quiet quitting. People just disconnecting from work. Like, did you have confrontation? Did you talk to someone? And maybe you did, but maybe you didn't, because you chose what was comfortable. What about the work crisis of burning out? Resigning? Being fired? It's easy to choose what is comfortable instead of doing the hard work by pressing into the uncomfortable so that you can achieve true comfort. So what do we do? What do we do? How do we avoid the crisis of comfort? Number one, I'm going to give you three things. How do we avoid the crisis of comfort? Three things. Number one, we assess our comforts. What comforts am I going to? And what are they revealing about what I'm avoiding? What comforts am I going to? And maybe what things am I not doing that I think that I should? And what am I doing instead of said thing? That could reveal a comfort. So you got to figure out, where are these false comforts in my life? And by doing that, you can do that a few ways. You can say, what am I spending my time doing? And is that thing actually healthy? Is it the thing that I should be doing? So what am I doing? Number two, what am I not doing that I feel like I should be doing? How am I eating? How am I sleeping? How's my activity? Am I working out? Am I doing something to be physically fit and healthy? How are my relationships? Am I having hard conversations? Am I having real conversations about what's good? Am I pushing things forward so that relationships grow, or am I just allowing them to be stagnant? What am I frustrated about? Have I voiced that? Same thing with work. What's good about work? What's bad about work? Where are we going? Am I excited? Are things clear? Am I bored? Am I dissatisfied? Why? You really have to, this is why we just need to be much more engaged in assessing our lives, being much more self-aware of what's going on, both for good and for bad, so that we can affirm and be grateful, have a spirit of gratitude for that which is good, and also be honest about that which is not good and try to fix it. So we have to assess. Number two, we have to then face what is truly uncomfortable. What is it that's keeping me from really moving away from a false comfort to a true comfort? Is it that, man, I just do not want to meal prep to eat healthy? Man, I do not, I just don't know what I'm doing at the gym. And so I got to figure out a schedule and a plan, and that just intimidates me. I got to figure out a solid sleep schedule. I got to figure out how to be more disciplined with getting to bed, turning off my phone, waking up at the same time, getting up, having a good morning routine so I feel good about the day, not being rushed. Right? We got to figure out this relationship. Where's this thing going? Let's have a real honest conversation where we both can listen and not try to justify our past actions, but really have some clarity and try to listen with big ears and try to figure out where we're at. And do that in a spirit of as much support as we can for each other. I need to have a conversation with my boss at work. I need to evaluate, am I in the right seat? Is this even the right line of work? Why am I here? What am I doing? Why? Just having the ability to have honest conversations and to turn off the noise of expectation or whatever it is that you may feel pressure from other people. So I think that's a lot of it too. We go to false comforts. We go to these things in our life and even try to make them comfortable because we feel maybe a pressure of what others will think if we're actually honest. I never wanted to be a lawyer, but I did it because my parents paid for law school and they're proud of me and I want them to be proud of me, but I can't stand it. Okay, well, you got to decide. Is making your parents happy the number one priority of your life? I don't think it is, because if it was, you'd be happy doing it. You go, hey, you know what? I love my parents so much. It doesn't matter that I don't love my job. I love them. And so this is awesome. But it doesn't sound like that. If you're dissatisfied, if you're going, I can't stand, I love my parents and I want to honor their sacrifice to pay for me for school and I want to, but I this is not what I'm doing. I got to figure something else out. Well, this is what I'm passionate about. And how can I have a conversation with them? And maybe they're like, maybe you have a conversation. I'll just be honest with you. This is something I had to work out. I felt just an incredible expectation to be in ministry from parents and from really not even parents as much. It was more just the culture I was raised in specific people. And what's funny is, as I talk to those people, they're like, we don't care. Why would we care? It was more a cultural thing by some specific voices of influence, people who didn't even know me, who spoke things so I think the way people who give speeches speak, and it's just very how when you give a speech, especially to a lot of people about a topic, you become almost hyper, right? So you say things in the dramatic. And so I took some of those things that I heard at influential ages and was like, oh, being in ministry is the highest calling and serving God with your gifts is really the only thing that everyone should do this. Because doing anything less is just giving less to God. Really jacked up things that don't even make sense, because it's not like the world is filled with predominantly vocational ministers. And so I just had a lot of things I had to work through that I didn't work through. And all of a sudden I was like, man, this isn't a good fit for me. It's a great job. They're great pastors. Love them. I'm so passionate about helping our pastors be more healthy. But that's not That's a bad seat for me. A bad seat for my personality, a bad seat for my drive. It just was a conflict. And it's not a conflict, it's a conflict for me because of some really narrowing down and drilling down, which again, this comes back to the assessment. I had to drill down and really be honest about specific things, about specific beliefs, about specific wirings, the way my mind works. And again, that doesn't mean that will be the same choice for you or for anyone else. There's so many things when you begin to nail down and really go, what is it? Going back to what we just said, we face what's truly uncomfortable. Meal prep for nutrition. Meal prep for nutrition could be 10,000 things. I could say that and 5 people right now go, yep, that's my problem. But guess what? That problem is different for all 5 of those people. For some, it's coming up with ideas. For others, it's the actual work of cooking. For others, it's because they have to say no to eating out. To others, right, it can be different for everyone. So don't assume that just because you have a broad issue that it's the same for everyone either. That's why communication, this radical thing that humans do, that we actually have language and can speak with clarity, and yet how often do we use it? So how do we avoid the crisis of comfort? Number 1, we assess our comforts. Number 2, we face what is truly uncomfortable. We look in the mirror and we assess and we speak it aloud to ourselves, and then we go to those who are involved and we speak it aloud to them. Number 3, we pursue healthy comforts. We make a plan and we get to work. We say, I'm not going to pursue the couch and Netflix. I'm going to pursue the gym and healthy foods that actually give me fuel for the body I desire. All of a sudden, nutrition becomes fuel, the gym becomes a therapy, sleep becomes refreshing. You're finding the joy of doing hard things. And that's the beauty. There's so much more joy in doing hard things because the sense of accomplishment you get from doing hard things is so much greater than the accomplishment of finishing a series on Netflix. In fact, I would say it's polar the opposite. When you finish a series on Netflix, you're kind of let down because there's nothing more. But when you go to the gym and you deadlift 10 more pounds than you did last week, oh baby, you're feeling good about life. When I go to the gym and I put 2 plates aside and squat it to full depth and it's easy, we put on 3. And when we squat that full depth for 15 reps, and it felt light today. Guess what? We're going for 4. We put on 4 plates aside. We don't quite get to depth, but we do a decent squat. We get to parallel. We're feeling good. We're feeling good. And we leave the gym and we say, it was a good day. I accomplished something that very few people accomplish. Worked out hard. Worked out heavy. And it doesn't really matter what anyone else lifts. It's heavy for me. Scary. 400 plus pounds on your back. It can be scary, but I did it. I faced what was uncomfortable, and now I feel comfortable in my skin and who I am. Because I did hard work, but I achieved a hard thing. So are you struggling? Are you struggling to assess your comforts? Maybe you know them. You know what you continue to go to. You go to the couch and Netflix. You go to drinking the beer, the scotch. You go to zoning out. You go to whatever things that you're like, these aren't bad things perhaps, but maybe I'm doing them way too much or I'm going to them way too often. Or maybe you're just struggling. You're like, I don't even know. I'm just so overwhelmed, so depressed. It's really even hard to assess my life. Maybe you know them. Maybe you've just struggled to break free. You're just into such a habitual pattern. The ruts are so deep. Or maybe you know them and you're trying to break free, but you're close to the crisis. You're really overweight. You are really stressed out. You are really burnt out. That relationship is on the edge. Maybe you're like, I gotta help. I need help. I need a plan. I have to take action now. Maybe that crisis is right on the doorstep. If that's you, if you're struggling, I want to encourage you. You need to get help. And if I can help, if Halting Winter can help, if the Spartan Facebook group can help, that's why I've created some communities. I want to bring people together. You are not alone. The issues you have are not unique to you. You live in a world of 7 billion people. You live in a world that's had a history of many billions of people. Your problems are not unique. So we need each other. And maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need a program that will help you free you from that prison of discomfort, of false comforts, and get you back on the path, chasing your hopes and dreams, leading you towards the real comforts that your life should be experiencing. And if that's you, reach out. Throw me a DM, use one of the links in the show notes, and hit me up. Hit me up on social media. I want to help you. I want to help you with however I can. But maybe you're not in a crisis. Maybe you just are looking for more insights, more motivations. Join the Spartan Facebook group. Free group over on the Facebooks. Spartan Body and Mind. Look us up. Join us. Be a part of the community because we need each other as, right? Motivations, accountability, community learning from each other, insights. So again, if you face discomfort, if you will commit to facing your discomforts, you will actually enjoy true comforts. You'll enjoy relationships with honest communication and really deep love. You'll embrace a work environment that now fuels your passion and your purpose because there's clear communication, there's clear direction, there's clear understanding about roles, responsibilities. If you will face the uncomfortable, you'll enjoy the true comforts. You will gain the body that makes you feel confident and functions with strength and mobility. Do not let your current comforts, those that are false comforts in your life, do not let those current false comforts lead you to a crisis. Cultivate new comforts by doing hard things. You won't stumble upon that which is most important. You won't stumble into a healthy, fit body. You won't stumble into a healthy work environment. You won't stumble into a healthy, thriving marriage. You have to do the hard work. So get up from the couch and turn off Netflix and get to the gym and rep out a few deadlifts. Until next time.